Okay, we're back on the BSA today. Got a few things I want to try and accomplish this weekend. Hopefully I'll get it all done. One, change the oil on it, which is going to require taking off the side cover, draining this tank, pulling the tank filter out, and then there's also a little catch screen down here for the dry sump. So I need to clean both, and they're really screens, not filters like you think of in the traditional sense. So we need to take the one out of the oil tank, drain the oil out of the oil tank, clean that filter, come underneath, pull the little plate out from underneath here at the dry sump where that other screen is, clean that screen, reassemble, put oil back in it. And then the other thing I want to accomplish this weekend is to pull the tank off at a minimum. I want to take the tank off because there's more of this, whoever looked at this wiring last, wrapped it in like Gorilla Tape or something, and that glue that's in that Gorilla Tape melts, and it's like almost like somebody got chewing gum all over your stuff. So anyway, so I want to get that Gorilla Tape stuff off of there, get it wrapped in some proper loom material, and then troubleshoot a couple of things on the electrical system just to make sure that everything's working right. And if I can get all that done and fire this thing off, we may show that this weekend. We'll see how far we get. Anyway, let's get into it. So first thing I gotta do is get a screwdriver, pop this cover off, and get that draining. And these things are release. They're just a kind of a twist release kind of a setup. And I release that side cover off of there. I'm gonna set this over here so it doesn't get damaged. It's pretty old and fragile at this point, so I don't want it to fall or get messed up in any way. And here is where that plug is. So I'm gonna take this off, and yes, I know it's better to change your oil when warm, but we're not going to start this bike up for just that. Like I said, this oil's doesn't look really all that bad. It actually looks pretty good. Like somebody must have changed it fairly recently, but that doesn't mean that they did it all right. So I'm going to drain it out of here, see what it looks like, and kind of go from there. What I'm probably going to do as well, though, is I'm going to try to get a funnel to catch this stuff, because if you just pull this out, oil's going to run all over the exhaust and everything. I want to try and avoid that, so I want to try and catch this and get it to come and land in our oil change thing rather than have it just going everywhere. So let's see what we can do with that. Find a good funnel here. Run this one. May have to hold this while it's draining. We'll see. Because I don't know how far it's going to shoot out when I pull this. It may go past that and go all over the floor. Oh goodness. It's going to be hard to make sure. We have a feeling it's going to make a mess, but it is what it is. Let's see what we can do. That's a pretty big, yeah, I don't know if I've got a wrench big enough, unless I use a crescent wrench. Let's see here. There you go, right there. This socket will work. crack it loose. Grab that funnel. We'll see just how much of a mess I can make. Thing's got threads that go on forever. There, I'm doing something wrong. Here we go. Feeling it's going to come fast and furious now. Oh, yep. Well, on the bright side, we didn't get it all over the shop, but we were trying to avoid getting it all over the exhaust, and it still got all over the exhaust. So it wasn't a complete win, but again, it's my first time doing this, so on this bike, I'm sure I'll figure out a better way to do it in the future. All right, so we need to clean this screen here, make sure it's good and cleaned out. So I'll do that with some brake clean and whatnot, sprayed out, make sure this thing's good, the screen is good and cleared out, and the oil passages are good and cleared out. See what kind of sludge we've got in this tank. Ugh. This may be more involved. This may be all I get to today, because based on that sludge, it's filter screen's above it. When you stick your finger in there and you feel that sludge that's in the bottom of that tank, that really probably need to clean that tank. So multiple things to accomplish there. So what I'm going to do is get to pulling these lines loose off of the tank, work on getting the tank out. I got to look at where it attaches and get the tank pulled out so that I can get this tank rinsed out good, get that sludge out of there, because I want to get this system clean. So we're pulling that out, clean this filter, clean tank, pull out this filter air at the bottom of the sump, and make sure that it's good and cleaned out, and we got good clean oil running through this entire machine when we put it back together. So it's going to take me a minute because I haven't looked at exactly how to pull that tank yet. So let me do that, and once I have that figured out, we'll bring you guys back. All right, little update. Working on trying to change the oil. As discussed earlier, there was sludge in the bottom of the tank. So, you know, per maintenance instructions, you got sludge, you should clean this tank, along with, say, the associated screens and so on. So I knew I had never taken one of these out before, so on this particular bike, so I'm trying to figure it out as I go. I do have a manual, but the manual doesn't tell you a whole lot. It just says, hey, you should clean out the tank whenever it's got sludge in the bottom of it. And it says you should remove it and clean it out. So start trying to remove the tank, and this is where I'm at so far. I had to remove the bracket that holds the coils out of the way, remove these lines, get them out of the way, unbolt the toolbox, try to get it out of the way, but you can't remove the toolbox until you remove the oil tank. You can't remove the oil tank until you remove the toolbox. And then the fender, the rear mud guard, is also in the way, apparently. I think if I remove the rear mud guard, I might be able to get the oil tank out. Maybe. I'm not even sure about that, because it seems like every time I move something out of the way, it gets a little better, but it doesn't really improve that much. So in order to get this oil tank out, so far, I've had to remove the coils, the bracket that holds the coils, tie it back out of the way with tie wraps, remove these oil lines, try to remove the toolbox, shove it back out of the way, unbolt up here to loosen the one bolt that actually holds the oil tank. And then it looks like I'm going to remove the mud guard and see if that gives me enough clearance to actually get the oil tank out so that I can clean the thing. Now, this is an item that it states in the manual should be cleaned periodically. I would hate to think what your maintenance bill would have been on one of these things back in the day when you just simply needed to get your oil tank cleaned. Quite an engineering design. But again, there's probably a really simple way to do this that I'm just not seeing, and I don't know what that is. But anyway, I'm going to continue. Not going to film it all because this is taking an incredible amount of time to basically disassemble the entire motorcycle to get the dang oil tank out. So let me continue on that, and we'll bring you guys back once we get all this done. Okay, well, I may be at the point of stuck, at least for now. My brother has my impact driver. These bolts are just spinning. I can't get the right size tool on there. They want to round off. So I need the impact driver to hit them with a quick impact, spin them off, so I can get the rear fender off, or rear mud guard, depending on what you call it, because that's required apparently to get the oil tank out of this frame. I don't see any other way to get enough clearance to get the oil tank out of there. So that's got to happen, and I don't have a way to do that. Like I said, I pulled the coils, the coil bracket holder, the hoses, the toolbox, and I've disassembled half this motorcycle trying to get this tank out. I've got to get this fender out of the way to get some clearance where I can roll that thing back and get the vent part of it, which just sticks up about an inch above the tank, below the frame, so I can get the oil tank out. But this oil tank needs to be cleaned. I mean, at the end of the day, it needs to be cleaned. It's filthy at the bottom. It's got sludge in it. It needs to be cleaned. So I want clean oil running through this engine, and that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. So anyway, so we're stuck for now. If I can get over to my brother's and get my tools, then maybe I'll have more to report. But as of right now, we're kind of stuck until I get my tools back. So that's it. Appreciate it. Okay, so I checked with my brother to see if he was around to get my impact driver back from him. And he is out of town, out of the country as a matter of fact. So he'll be back tomorrow. So I'll try and get my tools back from him then, maybe then. So I'll be able to pull the fender and get this oil tank dealt with. But in the meantime, there's still progress we can make, I think. Thought about it. Sometimes you gotta step back from these things for a minute and go, okay, what can I do? Well, I can still pull the tank and get it off and clean up, do some of this wiring cleanup that I've been wanting to do. So let me try and see if I can get some of that done. And then that'll get us that much closer to the finish line tomorrow. When I get my impact driver back, I can deal with the fender and maybe get this oil change finished. So in the meantime, we'll work on pulling the tank and dealing with some of this wiring cleanup. So let me get the tank off, and once I have that, which, you know, you guys don't need to hang out and see that, so pull the bolt up on top, one down through the middle. Should be pretty straightforward. Anyway, at least I don't know if I have to pull those or not. Maybe, probably. Anyway, but I'll get the tank off, and then once I have that, you'll be able to see the wiring mess that I'm talking about and clean some of that up. run good loom covers on it, and then also there may be a little bit I have to do in the headlight. But we'll bring you guys back for that. All right, I'm trying to show you guys some of this wiring mess I'm talking about. So I've already cleaned up here, and I remember, if you remember the last video, I talked about how they had all this nasty junk. They use like Gorilla Tape or something to wrap the old cloth wiring loom, which just melted and became a total mess. So I cleaned that up right there. So we can get that in focus. So this is cleaned up. As you can see, they did the same thing all along through here, down here, all the way down here. So I'm going to get all that junk off there. It's right over the engine. That's going to melt just like the other stuff did. Just bad news. So I'm going to try and clean that up. And then I may switch from a barrel fuse here to an ATC just for ease of use. It's behind the cover. No one really sees it. Doesn't matter. And then the pilot light is not working in the headlight, so I may see if I can get that going, some of that stuff. But first things first, I want to get these looms cleaned up and get them looking good. So let's get started on that. I'm gonna put the camera in a dock here, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's see here. Let me bring this over here. All right, let's put this back in the mothership. Well, guys, I'm not even sure where the video cut off, but it ended on me while I was talking there, so I'll fix that in editing. But as I'm peeling back all this nasty Gorilla Tape off this thing, the more and more I peel it back, the more and more I find. Like, there's Gorilla Tape around where they splice the wire, and this wire, and these cheap connections, and more cheap connections, and wires that are just bent back going to nowhere. More Gorilla Tape around cheap connections. And to give you an idea of the quality of the repair job on the wiring that somebody did here, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera. Speaker wire. Someone used speaker wire as part of their wiring loom repair. I don't even know what to say. I've seen some, and generally I don't talk about work other people do, but I mean, this is bad. Bad. This is going to take me hours to clean up. And I can repair this entire loom, and I may try to, rather than order one, but it is in such bad shape with all these patches and splices and everything. Either you have to build up an entire loom from scratch, or just order one. So I may end up just ordering a loom for this thing just to get it back to good, because this is horrible. It's dangerous. I mean, this could start fires. It's just bad workmanship. So please, if you're trying to flip a bike or something, don't hide the bad. Just say it's there, and the guy can make a decision on something. But, I mean, I know it's buyer beware, but damn, this is pathetic. Anyway, so I got a lot of work to do here. Thought I was going to be able to clean up a little bit of wiring loom wrap and change the oil and get this thing on the road this weekend. But apparently that's not going to happen. So anyway, we'll stop the video here. This is probably going to bleed into next weekend. So this is probably going to be it for part 2. And part 3 will come, but I got a lot of cleanup and a lot to do with this wiring. And I'm not just going to sit here and have you guys stare at me trying to clean up this wiring loom. So we'll show you what it looks like when we get it closer to home in the next episode. Thanks.